Welcome back. The presidential mandate has been given to Iranian President Hassan Rouhani ahead of his being sworn in for his second term at the helm of Iran's government. The 68-year-old moderate clinching his second four-year term in an easy election win, promising to build on the 2015 nuclear deal reached with several world powers, including the United States. Now, under that deal, Iran severely curbs plutonium production and reduces its nuclear research in exchange for an easing of sanctions. But the new sanctions bill imposed on Iran by President Trump yesterday has sparked an outcry from both Rouhani and Supreme Leader Ayatollah Khamenei.
The Islamic Republic of Iran system, although it has paid and is paying the price of independence with a sense of dignity, will never accept isolation imposed by enemies.
Today, the United States of America's regime is the top aggressor and the most shameless. Appear before them with firmness and strength.
Joining us now from New York, international journalist Tara Kangarloo. Tara, thank you for being with us. In light of recent events, what is the relationship going to be now between Trump and Rouhani?
Thank you for having me. It's going to be a pretty interesting next 4 years because unlike the dynamic that we had between President Obama and President Rouhani, right now we have a president in Iran that has campaigned and today talked about wanting to join the international community even more and really advocating on messages of moderation. And then in the United States, we have a president who is taking every opportunity to isolate Iran. And these are not two narratives that align and go hand in hand. So it's going to be quite a bit of a challenging 4 years for both presidents.
Okay, stay with us, Tara. We move now into studio Iranian affairs specialist at the Hebrew University of Jerusalem, Dr. Eldad Pardo. Just quickly give us a background as to why Rouhani emerged victorious this time round.
Well, the Iranian people just had enough of this regime for a great many years. There is like a small section of society that controls everybody else, and definitely had this amazing achievement, the nuclear agreement with the United States. So, and he knows how to talk the talk. He promised a lot of changes.
Right.
Problem is, he cannot deliver.
They were fruitless. Yeah. So then what does this mean now? With these new sanctions?
What we have seen since the elections is that actually Rouhani is the president, that's his title, but basically he's not the leader. There is a leader in Iran. It's not like in the United States that you have a president who is also the leader. So he tries really to appease all his opponents, which means, first of all, Khamenei, the supreme leader, even the Revolutionary Guards. There was recently a meeting. There is a major clash between Rouhani and the Revolutionary Guards, and he tries somehow to keep the channels open also with those who support him, like the reformists, but they are very unhappy still.
And back to you, Tara. What is the feeling in the United States in terms of how Iran might respond to these new sanctions?
I think the United States is in a very unique position because you have a situation where right now the U.S. is having a problem with Russia, and the European countries are very much in support of the JCPOA and the agreement. And then you have a country in Iran that is really much raising their hand and extending it in continuing the engagement with the world. And as far as where this will go next, it really comes down to the Trump administration and how they're going to handle the dialogue or lack thereof with Iran.
Okay, Tara Kangarloo, thank you for that insight live from New York there. Back into studio, Dr. Eldad Pardo. This must be an enormous setback, these sanctions, for Rouhani, who's now about to be sworn in as the new president.
Well, indeed, we heard also Khamenei during the inauguration ceremony. He had a different speech. He said, now we need much more confrontation with the United States. So basically, what Rouhani tries to do is to ask the Revolutionary Guards to try to work in harmony with the international community. This means not conquering the entire Middle East, as we know the Revolutionary Guards are everywhere, and they are doing it pretty steadily, and also not building intercontinental missiles, like a missile that will carry satellites, but also nuclear bombs and all of that. And on the other hand, try at least somewhat to open the economy. So, for example, the Iranian banking system would be able to talk with the international banking system, and you know, international business people will not be afraid to deal with Iran, because they have this kind of dictatorship that you know is involved in international terrorism. On top of that, you have the repression, hanging of people, torturing of people, a lot of arrests, women, extremely, you know, there is a pressure from the reformists at least to have one woman minister, and he can't deliver so far. Just a reminder, Ahmadinejad, you know, the ferocious one, he had 3 women ministers. Of course, a woman cannot become the leader or the president, but still.
And in terms of Rouhani's interest in the broader Middle East, we know that Iran is involved in several proxy wars, Yemen, Iraq and Syria. Yeah. What is he going to what is he hoping to do here?
Rouhani has no authority whatsoever. We have Qasem Soleimani, who is the head of the Revolutionary Guards, and he is Khamenei's person for you know, everything that's important. Rouhani, his role is to keep this society together and somehow to keep the United States happy, so there is no new sanctions.
Well, as we know that, as we talked about, the economic benefit around this nuclear deal, which proved to be fruitless, and economics at least was a huge part of his campaign. Yeah. How important, or rather of the campaign, how important is lifting the economy to Rouhani?
Extremely important. However, it's not enough, because money is not enough. Iran is an 80 million people society, very sophisticated, a lot of universities, a lot of industries, and in order to provide jobs, you need to open the economy. It's not enough to write checks. I mean, this is what Ahmadinejad tries to do, to write checks to people. No, you need to provide work to people. You need to provide hope to people, and many of them are extremely sophisticated, so they need factories, they need initiatives, they need business, all of that. For this, you must change the regime, introduce more democracy, and forget the dreams of conquering the world. But they would like to have that too.
Right, well, he's being sworn in on Saturday. We'll be keeping a close eye on that. Dr. Eldad Pardo, thank you so much for that insight. We're going out for a short break, but still to come, Israel's Supreme Court hears why the Jewish LGBT community should be allowed to adopt children as thousands attend Jerusalem's Gay Pride Parade.